Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I'll be working with some Lawn Fawn products because they are actually sponsoring the Passionate Paper Creation and Friends Facebook group this month. So I chose to work with the Happy Hugs stamp and die set, and as well I'm using the Lawn Fawn Peekaboo Backdrop, and I've die cut it twice out of some heavyweight cardstock. This is 120 pound, and I'll layer up these frames to give it some extra dimension. And I did already color up a couple of the Happy Hugs characters with some of my alcohol markers. And what I'm gonna do is I will go ahead and just try to figure out how I want to arrange my characters and which ones I want to use. So this squirrel is super adorable, and one of the things that I love about the Peekaboo Backdrop is that you can use it with the frames as is and just create maybe little vignettes or little scenes. Or the die set also comes with a set of dies that will cut little flaps or peekaboo doors that you can add to each of these 4 frames. And there are doors in 2 different sizes and 2 different styles. So what I'm gonna do is I thought that it would be nice to add this little thought bubble. And it's the perfect size for some of the sentiments that come in the Happy Hugs stamp set. So I chose to put Thinking of You. And so I'll go ahead and I've stamped it out twice just in case one didn't look good, but these stamps work perfectly. So now I'll just have an extra for the next time I go to use this set. And there's lots of really cute characters, different sizes as well, and some of the characters actually feature in other stamp sets as well. So I know in particular the Scootin' By stamp and die set features the same 2 characters that are on this set too. I think the bunny and the fox. So it's awesome that so many of the characters you can kind of see them in multiple stamp sets, because then you can really start to mix and match and create some really fun scenes. So what I'm gonna do here, I've just rolled out my this is the Tonic craft mat, and I'm gonna just do some really quick inking to create just some grass and sky for my characters to sit on. And I'm actually inking right onto the pieces that fell out when I die cut the Peekaboo Backdrop frame. So these are going to be set right back into that frame. And I thought that it would be cute to have the thought bubble up on the top row, as if the little squirrel was sort of thinking that he was thinking of you. And what's cool with this set is that there's also a little cloud stamp and die too. So I'll be using that as well. So it's really nice that you get, sort of these scene building components as well. And initially I thought that I would use maybe some solid color cardstock for that 4th frame, or that 4th the box that's in the upper left hand corner, but ultimately I decided against that. So you'll see me later in this video ink up another sky to fit that in. So here's a little preview of where I'm headed with this. So I think what I'll do is I'm gonna die cut these out, die cut a couple of clouds out. That's gonna go on the top row. And I decided that I do want to try out the peekaboo door. So initially I thought I might just, create the scene and then, put my characters in there. But I thought it would be fun to sort of add that little surprise or that hidden element that you get when you use the doors that do come in the Peekaboo Backdrop die set. So here are the clouds, and in fact, you could probably snip the Thinking of You stamp also, or die cut, and use that as another cloud shape too if you wanted. It's slightly larger than the cloud die that comes in the set. And so I'll go ahead and just from some solid colored cardstock, I just placed it right behind the rectangle, and that's where my peekaboo door is going to be. And so since this is going to be hidden behind the door, I thought it would be a fun opportunity to fit another sentiment in here. And so this one reads, "Sending happy thoughts your way," but I'm only going to partially ink this up since the whole sentiment won't fit within this rectangle. So I'm just going to stick with "sending happy thoughts." Now, I did not think ahead, even though I knew that this would be going behind the peekaboo door, but you do have to keep in mind that the peekaboo door dies are designed so that you actually cut them into these panels that drop out of your peekaboo frame. And so there is a solid portion or a border all the way around the flap that opens, and that will need to be glued down. And so where I stamped, it's a very, very tight fit, as you can see. You can, if I had thought about it in advance, I would have maybe pushed that down a little bit, but I actually got really lucky that at least it's still visible. Not that it would have been too hard to ink up another panel, but just heads up to you if you use the peekaboo doors to keep in mind that there is that border that's going to block out whatever is visible behind the door. So maybe keep that in mind as you create the composition for what goes behind your peekaboo door. And because I used that solid color cardstock for my door, that's why I decided to go ahead and ink up another cloudy panel, because I didn't want two solid color frames. And so I thought this would be a little bit more balanced. And I don't know what would make sense to add to the scene, although looking at it now, there are little birds in this stamp and die set, the Happy Hugs stamp and die set. So maybe I could have added some birds up in the sky as well. But I decided to just add some more clouds, so that it just looks like that entire top row is sky. And this is the second or one of the peekaboo frames. So I'm going to start to actually adhere things to my card now. The frame is a perfect size for a US A2 size card, so it will fit perfectly a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And of course, you can use this in whatever orientation you want. So it can be landscape, it can be portrait, whatever suits the scene that you're trying to create. And these little panels, I'll just drop right back in where they originally came out. And so the two squares are the exact same size and the two rectangles are the exact same size. So that's really nice because you don't really have to keep track of which panel came out of which aperture. The two squares are interchangeable and the two rectangles are interchangeable. So I will get some adhesive on all of my pieces here, and I wanted to double up on the frame so that it actually sits above the scene, because since I'm putting these panels right back into the first frame that I've already attached to my card, that's going to make everything flush. And so I wanted to add just a smidge more dimension, and that's why I die cut the frame twice, even though I'm not using the panels on that second frame die cut. I'm just using the frame for some added dimension. And so I'll get my sky pieces back in, and then for this panel, which is going behind the peekaboo, I want to get that in first, and then I'll put the door on top of it. And that's the other reason to actually for having a second frame, because the peekaboo door, once I add that, that's going to sit on top of everything. So by having the frame there, it'll sit a little bit more flush with the second layer of the frame instead of sticking out on top of everything else. And so I'm being careful to just put adhesive around the flap. And so that way the flap can open up freely, and I don't have to worry it looks too much about. Sometimes when you have these peekaboo doors, they can actually close and recess a little bit, making it hard to open. But I do have the die cut there, so it's going to keep that door propped open. And also, it looks like it just has a natural tendency to want to stay open anyways. So I haven't found that these frames want to kind of nestle in. So I felt like I didn't really need a to stamp like lift this flap or anything like that, because Fawn does have their stamp set that has all of those interactive hints. So you could, if you were worried that somebody didn't know that they could lift up that flap, I think there is a stamp that says lift here or lift this flap, something like that. So one thing that I wanted to do to kind of make my clouds stretch a little bit, look a little bit different, is I just cut them up. So I cut one up the long ways, and I used a portion of it on the bottom of the upper left frame, and then the other half of that I just used on the panel next to it. And then with another cloud, I cut that along the short length and attach that across the border. So it kind of looks, it makes it look like, especially on the center one, that it's all one scene. And then with the thinking of you, I prop that up with some low profile foam. So this foam is only 1 millimeter thick. And since there's already so many layers of cardstock, this won't add too much additional bulk. So this should still be an easy shipper. And I think it's just adorable, all of these little characters, and it's a really fun, just because card to send to somebody that you're thinking of. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you want to catch new videos as I publish them, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!